and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with fans who've been linked with January transfer move to Arsenal. Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a January transfer move to Arsenal. We are back all month, every single day, bringing you up to date with all of the players that are linked with a move to Arsenal. And I get a feeling it's going to be quite busy this month because there are a lot of players being linked already with Arsenal. Of course, I was at the game yesterday at Fulham. It was a really, really poor performance and a reminder that Arsenal could do with a couple of signings to strengthen the team. It was, you know what, it's been a very disappointing Christmas period. I mean, started off with a very decent result against Liverpool, but then since then it's been horrendous. Losing to West Ham and also Fulham, both of them shock defeats, and all of a sudden Arsenal are down in fourth place. You know, Tottenham Hotspur breathing down our back in fourth. I mean, we had a chance to go top and all of a sudden we're in fourth place. So the team really could do with strengthening, and one of the areas that literally every fan I spoke to yesterday after the game was talking about was as a striker. We are not scoring enough goals. If you look at our stats compared to last year, they're way down. The players that we were relying on to score goals, Saka hasn't scored as many. Martinelli's been off form, only a couple of goals for him so far this season. Eddie Nketiah's not scoring them. Jesus not scoring them. Odegaard, who chipped in, has not really been scoring either. So that is one of the big reasons why Arsenal are not putting away teams or are struggling to put away teams in the Premier League is goal scoring. So everybody out there saying, we need a striker, we need a striker, we need a striker. But who will that striker be? Notoriously, in January, it's hard to get big deals done because teams, you know, don't want to let their players go. But Arsenal linked with a whole host of strikers so far in this January transfer window. The big one is Ivan Toney. Everywhere you go, everything you read links Arsenal with Ivan Toney. Of course, a 27-year-old striker. For Brentford, he was absolutely brilliant last year. 20 Premier League goals in 33 games. However, we know that he's been banned from playing football for 8 months because of this, to do with betting regulations, which he breached. He's been banned for the past 8 months, so he hasn't played any football at all. Now, he can return to playing football on January the 16th, and Arsenal are said to be very, very interested in signing him. However, will Brentford sell? That is the big question right now. And if they do sell, for how much? Is valuation anything from 60 to 100 million pounds you've seen quoted? That would be to buy him. Have Arsenal got that sort of money in January because of FFP? You know, there's been a lot of talk about, are Arsenal about, going to breach FFP? Right now, nobody knows what Arsenal have got available to spend. But we know that at the end of the last transfer window, they didn't buy David Raya. They loaned him for £3 million. And they've got an obligation to pay the other 27 million at the end of this season. So was that because they wanted to hold back some money so that they've got money available in January? Or does that restrict their spending with FFP this January? Nobody really knows because everything's been controlled by the Cronkies now. They've got 100% ownership. But if they do want Ivan Toney, you're looking at anything upwards towards £100 million. And then you've also got to take into account, will Brentford even sell him? I mean, looking at it here, Brentford, they are struggling right now. They've lost their last 5 games, right? They are only like 4 points off the relegation zone. The way they're going at the moment, they could be in a relegation dogfight. Mbeumo, who's done brilliantly for them this season, he's out at the moment. They really need Ivan Toney in their team to try and get some goals to get them moving back up that league. So will they sell him? I mean, personally, I think this is going to be a really difficult deal to get done this January, but who knows? Who knows? Let's wait and see how that one pans out. Another striker that Arsenal have been heavily linked with is Dominic Solanke of Bournemouth. Now, Solanke has been having a really, really good season, scoring lots and lots of goals. 12 goals in 18 games. And, you know, you scoring that sort of goals in the Premier League, obviously you're going to get the interest of a lot of clubs. Arsenal said to be a club that are really interested in him. His valuation at the moment is around about the £50 million mark. He's still a young guy, 26 years of age, really coming into form now. However, is he what Arsenal need? Is he good enough for Arsenal? That is the question still being asked. And also, again, would Bournemouth sell him? You know what I mean? They've been on a great run of form. They've got American owners who are really, really ambitious. They bought in players like Kluivert this season. They spent a lot of money. New manager, looking to progress forward. Obviously, if Arsenal came knocking, Solanke would want to make that move. But would Bournemouth sell him in January? Again, that is the big thing. Will they sell a big player like this in January for a team when he's doing so well? Again, we'll have to wait and see. Victor Boniface is another player being heavily linked with Arsenal. Again, another player that's been ripping it up this season for Bayer Leverkusen over there in the Bundesliga. Only 23 years of age, the Nigerian international. Now, according to the outlet Fidges, they say that Arsenal are heavily linked with him and are very, very interested in signing him. 16 goals he's scored in all competitions so far this season. As I said, one of the hottest strikers right now in European football. But once again, will Bayer Leverkusen sell Victor Boniface in January? You know, they're top of the league over there in the Bundesliga, being hunted down by Bayern Munich. They haven't lost a game this season. They've been absolutely brilliant. And Boniface has been one of the key components of that. Would they sell him? I mean, again, I see this as highly unlikely. Maybe you could see this as a summer move, but January, I just don't see it. See, the thing is that you've got to remember is this as well. Like a player like Victor Boniface, if you're a Bayer Leverkusen, why sell him now anyway? Right? If he continues this through from now till the end of the season, he could possibly win you the league. And his value might even be higher than selling him now. I mean, it just would not make any sense to sell a player like that right now for them. And that's why I think it's very unlikely that Arsenal will sign him. Same with Victor Osimhen. I know we've been linked with him. He signed recently a new extension to his contract at Napoli. Doesn't always mean much. But he's said to have in it a release clause of anything from 110 to 120 million pounds. And again, in January, are Arsenal going to outlay that amount of money? Is anybody going to outlay that amount of money? Even Chelsea might not even be willing to outlay that sort of money in January. And I think Osimhen stays put for January, but that's another player that's been heavily linked with Arsenal today. Here's another striker being linked. And again, these are links. But again, I can't see it. I just have to be honest here whilst I'm doing this show. Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan. Again, he's having a great season. 15 goals and 4 assists he's had. Been a long-term target for Mikel Arteta. They've always been big admirers of Lautaro Martinez. But again, are Inter going to sell Lautaro Martinez? They're chasing the league over there in Serie A. He's their main guy. £100 million he's valued at as well. Again, another player to be very, very expensive. I just can't see it. But we tell you about the players that are getting linked, and that's what we do right here on the show. There's other positions as well. I mean, Saka hasn't really been firing, nor has Martinelli. So will Arsenal get a bit more creative with it? Instead of going for a centre forward, go for another sort of winger type player that can come in when those players are not doing as good. Pedro Neto being linked again with Arsenal. We know there's been a long-term link with this guy. Still only 23 Neto, exciting player, electric player. Not injured now, back from injury. We know he had that knee injury that kept him out, and Arsenal were linked with him in the summer. Could Arsenal make a move in the January transfer window for Pedro Neto? What makes it also interesting as well is a rumour coming from CBS saying that Wolves want Reece Nelson. and that Arsenal may be willing to give Reece Nelson in exchange plus money for Pedro Neto. So that makes it really, really interesting if that's a possibility. But again, we're going to have to keep our eyes out and see what happens to there. Mikel Arteta's kind of openly admitted over the past few weeks that Arsenal are really short as well at the back. We saw yesterday Jakub Kiwior playing as a left back. Zinchenko injured again, a slight calf issue that kept him out. Tomiyasu only just came back yesterday and he looked rusty as hell. He was poor when he came on, but he's been out injured. He's had a poor injury record. So has Zinchenko. Arsenal really short at the back, and Jakub Kiwior is not a left back. And as a matter of fact, Jakub Kiwior is being linked with a move away. Gazzetta dello Sport over there in Italy saying that there's a host of Italian clubs that want to bring him back to Italy. Remember, we bought him from an Italian club, including AC Milan. Really, really interested in him. Kiwior himself, according to some rumours, would like to move back to Italy. Listen, he's hardly playing at Arsenal at the moment. You can't dislodge the pair that we've got at the moment of Saliba and Gabriel. But would Arsenal be willing to sell him and then go and invest in another player at the back? Again, that's one we're going to have to wait and see. That is quite an interesting one, actually, because, you know, Kiwior at the moment, you can see he doesn't like playing in that sort of left-back position. He wants to play as a centre-back and he wants to play regularly, but not getting a regular football. So here are some players, other players that have been linked in those areas that Arsenal could possibly move for this transfer window, according to the rumours. Sport over there in the publication over there in Spain claimed that Sergi Roberto is a player that Arsenal are taking a look at. 31 now, actually going to turn 32 in February. 1 year left on his contract, but there is an option on it for Barcelona to extend it. Versatile player, plays predominantly as a right back, but can also play in the midfield as well. We saw that last January transfer window, Arsenal brought in the experience of Jorginho, and he did well when he came in. Could they make a move for Sergi Roberto? Would be around about £3 million, so definitely doable for Arsenal. So that's one player that's being linked with Arsenal at the moment. They're also being linked with some centre-backs as well. Again, when you look at it, with Jurrien Timber being out injured long-term, with Tomiyasu's injury record, and he's also been linked with a move back to Italy as well. Could Arsenal make a move for some other centre-backs? There's 3 in particular that they're getting linked with, and it looks like Mikel Arteta is trying to get a centre-back that will be versatile enough to maybe play on the left or a centre, a bit like what Jurrien Timber was going to do. So there's 3. Inacio, who plays for Sporting CP, he's been linked. Very, very good player. I remember watching him play a lot last season. A very, very good player. Also, Ousmane Diamonde, who plays for Sporting CP as well. He's centre-back partner, also being linked. Inacio's predominantly a left-footer. Ousmane Diamande is a right-footed centre-back. But both of those being linked with a move to Arsenal. Both would cost around about the sort of 35 million to 40 million pounds mark, if, again, they're available to be sold this January. You know, you look at Sporting CP, they're having a great season over there in Portugal. At the moment, they're top of the league over there. Would they want to break up that partnership? If they do, it's going to take a lot of money to do it. Are Arsenal going to part with that in January? Again, that is the $1 million question, literally. And there's also Matthias de Ligt of Bayern Munich. A really, really top player. Of course, we all remember when he was at Ajax, he got the big money move to Bayern Munich. Hasn't really worked out for him at all. Playing, but not a regular starter for Bayern Munich. And he's said to be interested in a move. But again, would Bayern Munich let him go in January? And if they do, again, it would be a lot of money. I do feel there's big interest from Arsenal in Matthias de Ligt. And he is a top player. But to me, if he comes, I'm thinking this is more of a move that would take place more likely in the summer rather than January. But he is being linked with a move to Arsenal. So who are Arsenal going to buy this January transfer window? Are they going to spend big? Is it going to be loan moves? certainly I fully expect there to be activity from Arsenal. And really and truly, they need to do it early. It's an interesting transfer window this time for Arsenal because, number one, despite yesterday, they're still chasing the league. They've still got the Champions League as well and the FA Cup, right? So you think of the amount of games that are coming up for Arsenal and they're all important, starting off with Liverpool at the weekend, but then we have that international, well, not international, I keep calling it international break. We have that break, winter break for Arsenal. Then they come back and they play Palace towards the end of January. Now, in that period would be perfect for Arsenal to get their business done early. Whoever they bring in, get them assimilated and ready for the big amount of games that are coming up. There's no point to me in going into the transfer window late for Arsenal and bringing in whoever their main targets are. They need to try and get them done early. So that is why this is going to be a really interesting transfer window, and we're going to be all over it here on AFTV. Of course, I'll be here every single day with Transfer Daily, Monday to Sunday. And also, don't forget, any breaking news at all, we will have it here first for you here on AFTV. And also, I'm going to be doing a live debate Transfer Daily special where you guys get a chance to come on and tell me who you think Arsenal should go for. It's going to be a really interesting transfer window. So listen, thank you very much for watching today. Don't forget to check out all of our great content from the game yesterday. It was a bit miserable, but listen, it was a poor performance and we have to admit that. So check out all of that content from yesterday, all the interviews, and don't forget I'll be back tomorrow morning with another Transfer Daily.